because that's where we're seeing some of the a lot of the illegal dumping of the larger items, the mattresses, the couches, and the construction debris. So we're asking for an extension of that contract to keep them in District 2 for another year. And basically what it is 4 days a week, they send their cleanup crews to whatever locations in the city or in the district that we feel have been identified as hotspots. And for right now, the contract will say from Monterey, Branham, all the way down to Bailey.
You had Santa Teresa between Bailey and, the
That's being done free.
That's already been done?
Oh, that's been, the one on, where they always dump, you mean? Yeah, Art has that under control.
Yeah. If there are hotspots in your community that you would like addressed, let us know. We're trying to get some of the places where it's consistently, like every single day there's something new.
Just do something on the road.
So we're.
It's in the budget cycle.
It's in the budget. Measure T was passed, things will be roaded, all of our roads will be repaved, or resealed, depending on their.
They don't race on it, okay?
Yeah, but that's a serious thing.
Yeah.
They probably are not gonna upgrade that from what I heard because of the racing and because that whole road's gonna be lifted 5 feet.
What?
Which
one?
On Santa Teresa, as you go over the hill,
Mm-hmm.
or you go into where Coyote Valley is, I've been told it's gonna be raised 5 feet.
Because of the flood on there.
Yeah, and they're gonna take it from the right side and move around. They're gonna take it from the right side, but anyway, that's what I heard, so I heard that one's not gonna be done for long.
Has anybody got cameras on that? At one point you put something on there, did you catch these guys? Are we doing anything?
Well, I'm trying to negotiate with Sergio to give you that $10,000.
Just the game cameras on.
Yeah. So some of the other things is we are requesting some additional funds for continued park activation so that we can do those every summer, and hopefully we're able to bring them to every one of our residential and community parks. We're also asking for $30,000 to upgrade the South Side Computer Lab. So that is the computer lab for our seniors in San Jose, and the equipment in there is 10 years old, which in my opinion is embarrassing for Silicon Valley. Like they're using Windows like 6. I don't even know what Windows they're using, but it's definitely out of date.
DOS.
Exactly. And they've had a lot of issues with it, so we want to upgrade it and be able to provide some better programming for them there. Those are sort of some of the small D2 specific items. The other things that we're focusing on citywide, and you're going to see the trend in the budget, is really tackling the blight and the graffiti in San Jose. So there are multiple proposals. Councilmember Jimenez submitted a proposal for a blight squad. So basically having a proactive team similar to our park maintenance teams that come out and specifically target hotspots, because right now through the app, we only have the capacity to respond to complaints. And so we're trying to get additional funding so that we can do some proactive monitoring of blight across the city, because it's become a huge problem. And we're also requesting some cameras for illegal dumping surveillance so that we can actually start enforcing some of our our municipal regulations and make sure that the people who are doing this are caught and fined. Because right now it's so easy to just go around a dark corner and dump your stuff. And people don't understand the hazard and the cost that they're creating for the community. So we've also suggested that the Department of Environmental Services have some funding so that they can do an educational campaign so that people really understand the impacts of the illegal dumping across the city. So those are some of the things that we're focusing on through the budget, and then we're looking to have a fun time at the parks this summer. So I hope if anyone has any questions.
PD update projects.
So all of the park projects should be done by June.
The park.
September. I'm sorry, September. The shade
Structures and both big gap.
Yeah,
Both of
September.
them will be done by September.
September,
Parks
yes.
kick that schedule.
Yes.
Okay.
The February schedule, they did not run that by us when they told you
Yeah,
that.
I know, yeah, they
And
told me
so-
and I let them know.
And so we
There you go.
we had to make sure that was corrected. So we should have all of those projects, which will basically, once the shade structures are up, then everything will be done for PB, with the exception of the cameras, which is Issa's job now. So if you have questions about the cameras,
So
Yeah, call it
maintenance
that.
and so they're gonna have that, Parks is gonna put maintenance money for these things in here?
yes,
Did we talk
yes,
about that?
that is,
Because that's
that,
always with all these
yes.
projects, they need maintenance stuff.
yes.
For the stuff around the neighborhood.
They're supposed to be built into the regular park maintenance
And
schedule.
there's any overcost on the shade that's coming out of Sergio's budget?
No, Parks is gonna
Parks
pay
gonna
for
have
it
to, okay.
because they've been sitting on this for a very long time.
Yeah, I think they put a shade up for 80,000.
It's the city.
So, I heard this announcement about a Monterey corridor community.
Yeah.
Does that include us down this way, or is that?
So it basically includes just the corridor from Monterey Road all the way through San Jose. And what it is it's a working group that was created by the mayor. Councilmember Jimenez is the vice chair, and Maya Esparza, who's the representative for District 7, is the chair. And the idea is that they're going to come together, bring community members together, learn and analyze what's going on and figure out how we solve it. So the plan is that they would come up with an action plan on how to address a variety of concerns. So not just like the encampments and our relationship with UP and the blight, but also really figuring out how do we activate this area, what kind of economic development investments we need in the corridor, and how do we really make it what it should be, which is a gateway into San Jose, because it has been neglected for a very long time. And so now we actually have this working group that's being led by council members Esparza and Jimenez, and we also have dedicated staff from the city manager's office creating agendas and looking at this area and doing a lot of interdepartmental coordination to figure out what the issues are and to resolve them.
So the public's gonna participate?
The public can participate. It's gonna work, it's gonna function just like our committees do. So right now we have like a public safety committee, community economic development committee. It's gonna function just as our committees do. They'll have votes, they will make recommendations to council. So it is an action team basically. And the chair, the community representative right now who will be representing District 2 is Russ Failing. So he lives very, very close to the tracks, and so he will be the official member to represent D2. The meetings are open to the public, and anybody who's interested, the agendas are going to be made available to the public. You can provide public comment when you come to the meetings, or you can email us if you have specific things that you would like to see on the agenda.
Last question.
Your last
Go ahead.
one,
I'm the last one. How is the effectiveness of the citywide effort to approach the homeless problem? How is that going to be evaluated?
Well, obviously the numbers speak for themselves, right? I mean, you can see it. If we're seeing an increase in homelessness, then we're not doing what we need to be doing. But one of the things that is happening right now, and this is coming through leadership from the city manager's office, is that there is much more coordination now than there had been in the past with the county and the state. And so there are going to be evaluations of how many people we can get off the street, how can we keep them off the street to make sure that they aren't, losing their housing again, and also figuring out how what works with certain populations. So I think, for example, we saw that the numbers with our families are going down because we're able to target that. We have relationships with the school districts. We're able to get. It's much easier to house a family with children and get them the resources that they need to get up out of homelessness than it is to individual adults or people with other different types of needs. So one of the ways that we're evaluating obviously is with the homeless count, seeing how the numbers go, but also making sure that some of the new developments that are coming in and the affordable housing that we have, that people are staying housed. So there's a lot of units across the city that are dedicated for people who are extremely low income. It's called LEI units. Monitoring those, making sure we can cap those rents and keep people housed. So it's a combination of different things, but I think the most important thing is really figuring out how we work better with the county so that we can keep these numbers under wraps and really focus a lot more on prevention than we have been. And then another thing I think everyone agrees with is that when solutions are proposed, we need to have community support for them, because we can't just complain about the homeless problem and then when a development comes to your community, everyone comes out with pitchforks and says, no, we don't want it here. And so if we don't want people on the streets, we need to build the housing to house them. And so let's all be supportive of that.
I get one last question.
Sure.
I've been waiting for quite a while. You can educate us on how to go. You can ask the question. Go ahead, Chris.
Just that urban villages, the 5 villages being built by the Costco, is it for all affordable housing, or what's the percentage of how many units?
Those are all fair market units.
They're all what?
They're all fair market.
100%.
Yeah, they're 100%
No
fair market.
How much are those?
Why not? All the new stuff on cost.
I thought the law was you gotta do so much for a builder.
If they're residential units, so if it's an apartment complex, then you do. But if they're condos or townhouses that are being sold, Those don't include
Those are
affordable.
those are all
Those?
gonna be.
So, I'd have to look into it specifically, so the way that it currently works is 15% of units are supposed to be reserved for low-income, housing. But it only applies to multifamily residential units, it doesn't apply to townhouses or condos, or single-family.
Well, that's
homes.
one way to fix the problem.
There you go.
I mean, that's crazy.
Because they sell the individual, the units are sold and individually owned.
RVs that park on streets and move around, anything CHP?
The safe parking site at Southside is open, I don't know if you all have noticed, but there are several RVs that are parking there. It's been open since the 15th, I wanna say. So it's been open for a good week and a half or so, and so we are seeing the RVs moving to Southside. If you're seeing RVs in your community, or if you're seeing people living in their cars in your community, let us know. The way that the outreach works for Southside is that they're doing a lot of proactive outreach to people. So if you call me and say there's someone parked on this street, we'll send an advocate out to talk to that person and to give them information about Southside.
That's
So
good.
people are.
Do we have flyers that we can give them to? You have some?
I don't have any flyers with me today, but you can have them, if you look at our newsletter, we have the information for Life Moves, which is the organization that does it, or you can report it through the regular homeless concerns team.
So do they get to use the bathrooms there at Southside then?
Yes.
Oh, okay, that's
Yeah,
great.
they're allowed to use the
That's great.
restrooms, and they have access to garbage facilities, and there's on-site security systems.
No showers though, right?
Not yet, we are trying to coordinate showers with the mobile shower truck to come by at least once a week.
That's great.
That's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for a good update.
Oh, thank you for having me.
How much time do we have?
So I have the key to the room.
Okay.
Yeah, so we can start right
Are
away.
people staying till 8:30 or 9?
That's fine.
We want to get educated.
Educated.
Okay,
So once we have to leave, we have the room until 4 o'clock.
okay.
Don't you bring your blanket up, take it down for you.
I'm Yosef. I am the Northern California Outreach Representative, and I'm here with my colleague Gary Henry, Project Manager for San Jose to Merced. So if you have any technical questions, go to him. He's here. Why are we here? A few weeks ago, Amy, Brian, some other folks were at our community working group meeting on May 2nd, and we convened neighborhood leaders to talk about our process, where we're at. And Amy and Brian brought up the question is, how come we haven't seen anything in our neighborhood? And I responded, that's easy, we can come to you and we'll show you what our maps look like in your neighborhood. And so just to navigate you in the room, there's some exciting stuff on the walls. This being the most zoomed in of alternative 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the ones in the back are more zoomed out. So I got some requests to see streets that are further north, further south of Los Paseos. So if you want to look at that, if you live not Los Paseos, those are the ones you look at. Okay. So there's only 2-3 slides here. I want to give you a background information before we go dive into the maps. I want to spend more time. I want you to spend most of your time today with Gary to walk through what's what and what's it's really confusing because they're all engineering drawings. Even for me, it takes me a little while to understand. As you know, we're walking through it together. So overview. This is the project section, San Jose to Merced, and where we're at is this little star here. And so what we're called here in this subsection is called Monterey border subsection. I have some handnotes in the back, so if you want to read closely on what those subsections are, they're in the handout in the back. Oh, sure. This little star here. So when you talk to Gary, he'll have a bunch of jargon. And I want to highlight some of the jargon that he'll mostly mention. Is viaduct. Viaduct is elevated structure here. Embankment, dedicated at grade. So in this section, you have UPRR, unit traffic, right across from some of the neighborhoods here. And then blended at grade, which is blended with Caltrain. Just want to see how many slides I have. Okay. So, like I mentioned, last week or 2 weeks ago, Amy and Brian and some of the leadership here come and meet with us on a working group to talk about where we're at. Our next meeting is in July, and in that meeting, we'll reveal the preferred alternative. Right now, there's 4 alternatives, and in July, we'll really reveal the preferred alternative, the staff recommended preferred alternative. So, Amy, Greg, or Brian, whoever is a CBG member, in July, they'll come and see what that preferred alternative is. And it's also open to the public, so you guys can come and sit in the background and ask questions at the end of the meeting. And then, so the summer is a very busy time, July and August. We'll be meeting with members of the public from San Jose all the way to Merced in this section. And then we collect the input to bring to the board in September. And all the input that we'll collect from you guys will be written in a memo delivered to the board. And in that meeting, the board members will concur or modify what they see from the staff recommended alternative. And then obviously we're working towards the draft EIR, and then it's by November of 2020. Meetings in July and August, we're still looking to confirm locations, but just to give you a sense of where we're going. San Jose CBG members apply to you guys, and then Morgan Hill Gilroy will apply to folks south of you guys, and then the open house is in August. And so I have mailing list signups in the back there, and I have name cards. If you want to be added to get notified on when these meetings are happening, especially the open houses, please sign up for that. Or I can take your sign-up sheet if everyone concurs, I can maybe take your sign-up sheet and share with us and add you to our mailing list.
Does anybody have any objections to that? Okay.
Emails are there, right? Are emails on there?
Some of them, mine is.
If your emails are not on there, put your emails there. So Amy and especially Amy, you requested some simulations. So I have 3 right here. Quad gates, what quad gates look like, Monterey and Brennan Lane, what does that look like, and then Checker Pass.
Oh, you're gonna go through them slow.
Yes, I'm going to play them. I just want to
Come on now.
There's no music, so Gary and me are probably going to give you a voiceover. It's very fast too. Right.
I know my to go to the show way off Thursday.
Walking.
They're not very stealthy, these birds. You know, CHP had the quiet ones, they can sneak up on you, not having. They're designed for on-bite use, not.
I apologize, it might not be a video. Oops. Oh shoot.
We can still explain a little bit.
That's a PowerPoint. That's, so you gotta go up there and do play.
I added a video and I guess this.
Click now, click now.
Oh, no. I think it's just a slideshow.
Yeah, it looks like it.
Yeah. I
Up on top, you can say play the video or play the PowerPoint.
Yeah.
If you go back to that.
My other plan B is if you guys go walk through the plans, I can download them online and then I can look at them at the end. I think that might be a better idea because they're short too. So
Were there other slides you had to show us though?
that's it.
Okay.
Hey, also,
Yes.
at the May 2nd, the big meeting, they showed the video, and then
Yes.
they said it was gonna be online. We have not been able to find it at all. Is there a reason?
So the difficult part is we are High-Speed Rail Authority. We are going to a new website in July 1st, and we're trying to migrate everything from the historic information into the new website. And so every time we want to put something new onto the current website, there's a backlog of information, and then they're trying to prioritize what to put on the old website. What I can do is I can send you the links. I think that might be the fastest way to do it.
Yeah.
Then you can share the link with whoever you want.
Yeah.
And your emails, if your emails are there, I can maybe write that as an action item too, to send you the videos and watch it at home.
If you click on the flyover video, it won't take you to the video.
This one I'm not going to show. I just wanted to show you this. This is on the website,
Yes.
as you've seen. This one is all four alternatives. It just drives you from San Jose all the way to Merced. So it's a long video. It just shows you how the four alternatives go. They're mostly in the same line, but in some areas it does divert. But this is the 4-minute video, so you've seen this one, right?
So basically nothing to see there, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I can download it right now, and then while you guys walk through with Gary, and then we can play at the end of the meeting, and then my other action item is to send you the link to watch that.
I can't see what's on the screen, so anyway.
Could you do the live?
Sorry.
I cannot make out what's on the screen.
he's gonna turn the lights on.
You'll turn the lights.
Oh, okay.
Let's see if that, yeah, there you go.
There, much better.
So there's 3 videos, like I mentioned. One of quad gate.
So
So in this quad gate video, we'll see the gate come down, car stop, and then you'll see the speed of Caltrain drive by, and then you'll see the high speed drive by, and then the gates come back up.
This is a location in San Mateo, so this is in the Caltrain corridor. I'm actually down here, but it has all the features that are involved in upgrading the grade crossings to be able to achieve the highest speed with the 110 for the high-speed train coming through. So it has all the elements down in the Monterey corridor that are actually 3 tracks.
Is that a drawing? Was that a drawing or was that?
It will be.
No,
it's a simulation.
Oh,
It's a
okay.
computer
Video simulation.
simulation. Yeah.
So they're doing 110 coming down through San Mateo. What's the fastest they're going?
Well, we'll talk about it when we get to those, but it depends on those. But we have one that just shows how the quad gates work. The next series is actually at the intersection of Monterey and Verano, and it just goes through what it would look like with the 3 different configurations: the viaduct, dedicated at grade, or the blended. And then the other one is sort of by Casa de Fruta in Chaco Park, just so you can sort of see. It's more of an expansive view of just what the train looks like in a more raw environment.
There's Wi-Fi here, right?
Yes, there is, yes, there is.
There's Wi-Fi, I can download the video. I can play it.
Yeah, there is.
And then this one is it's more fun to watch because it shows all 4 alternatives kind of. I don't want to describe too much because when I download the video, well, I'll try to do it now. Would you guys like to do that, or do you guys want to walk through the maps with Gary now?
Why don't we walk through with Gary while we download the
See the
videos?
plans.
So just a couple of things to what Joseph said. One of the reasons, and Amy's pointed this out, so is Karen, is the Monterey subsection actually stops at Bernal. I know Monterey keeps going, but it's a reason for alignment purposes why it stops. And so if you're going south of Bernal, it actually lands in the Morgan Hill Gilroy subsection. So if I'm in San Jose, I'm looking in the Monterey subsection, you will not find south of Bernal. You have to look at the north end of the Morgan Hill Gilroy subsection.
But you have that on this map.
But that's what we have on this map. So that's just one thing to note, like in your handouts. In some ways, the description of the Monterey corridor applies down here, but the actual subsection break is at Bernal.
So are we going to the wrong meetings then?
No, it's Morgan Hill Gilroy is very much focused on downtown Morgan Hill and downtown Gilroy, around the Caltrain stations particularly. The other point is I just want to make a note, in September when we do have the board meeting for the selection, it will be in San Jose. So you'll be able to, you won't have to track all the way up to Sacramento. If you've got comments you want to make to all the board, it will actually be here. I'm assuming we typically have it at the county building on Heading. That's why